Kathy Petzo, Brian Presley, Julie Hollander, and Earl Stevenson. Approximately 25 unit owners were present. The president opened the meeting by announcing the resignation of the secretary, Charles Harper. Thank you to Charlie for his many years of service. He then introduced and welcomed the newly appointed board member, Mike Castleman of Unit 316. The minutes of the June 20th meeting were read and approved. The treasurer's report was read and approved. The next item on the agenda was the problem with the water shut-off valves. They are so difficult to shut off and once off, nearly impossible to open. We feel we must replace the valves in all units. We are waiting on plumbing bids for this job. The topic was also brought up to limit ownership to 2 units. Many negative voices were heard about another rule. However, when the facts were presented, they seemed to understand. We now have 25 rentals and 3 more being considered. Too many rentals affect being able to sell. Mortgage companies and banks do not want to lend under these conditions. Also, insurance companies increase the premiums when there are too many rentals. There was a time when we were able to keep the number of rentals at 10%. With the ones we now have and others planning to rent, we will be at 30%. If this keeps up, there is a possibility we will be no longer considered a condominium by insurance underwriters, but an apartment dwelling. We have contacted Delta Engineering to consult with us about a crack column and a few other locations. A fining committee was appointed to review the sales and mortgages of units 328 and 207. Jim Orth, Marjorie Galletti, and Peg Norton. The meeting was adjourned.
Motion to approve the minutes as read.
I make a motion we accept the minutes.
Any questions on the minutes as read? Motion second, approve the minutes. Thank you. Treasury report, Julie.
Okay. In our regular checking account, as of August 31st, we had $10,183.14. Our receipts for the month of September, $19,425. Expenses, $14,222.21, which gave us a balance September 30th of $15,385.93. And in our formal pooled reserve fund, we have $263,774.37.
Thank you. Motion to approve the treasury report is read.
I made the motion.
Any questions on the treasury report? Second?
Second.
Treasury report approved as read. Okay, get to business of today. I regret to announce that Earl Stevenson has announced that he is retiring from the board as of yesterday. Earl has been very instrumental in a lot of stuff that we have done here. He's very involved in rebuilding the building since 2004 after the hurricane. He had a lot of good inputs with his abilities in the construction and in financing, but his business experiences, he will be missed by the board. Next thing on the agenda yeah. We're looking into painting of the building, of course. Now, we've met with Scott Payne, who had originally done the painting here. We had a very good meeting with him, with the owner, with the representative from the company. He brought with him 2 contractors to give us bids, to start giving bids, walk through the building. And me and Lance Gopperson were present at the meeting. There's a 32-page.
Sorry.
You gotta see this thing go off in the middle of the night with stuff. 32-page documents of situations that they want to use for locating the building. We got a meeting today with another company that want to come down here, give us appraisals on it. Now, I know there was, I've been informed that there are some people looking to change the color of the building to something a little bit different. If this is a case and you want to get involved, and if this is what it wants, then I'm going to have a appointed committee, hopefully a couple of good women that know colors, because I don't do color. And anybody else that wants to be on that, involved with that, make some suggestions and work on something like that, and we'll have to put that to a vote, so we'll have to get information. Now, Scott Painting, said that he would come down with the, code, with the painting things, and work with that committee if they're interested.
What we're trying to do, the suggestions have been that we might want the main color to integrate more closely with the event center and share the 4 points so that we all sort of blend in together and nobody's sticking out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, it won't be a radical change. I mean, it won't be like we're going to go back to pink or blue or something.
If anybody has been down Bell Harbor, there is a condominium down there, the third or fourth one on the right. The color is just beautiful in it. It's like a coffee or beige with a dark brown trim, which would blend in really well with, what's on each side of us. They're very good colors down there, very nice.
Yeah.
Has it been considered for patch-up
Well,
at
all
all?
the patching has to be done, yes.
No, I
Definitely.
mean, just patch up and paint over and forget the whole job. Why can't that be considered?
But actually, if you look at the T111, which is the stuff on the inner walls, on the walkways, all that paint is really starting to show. The rest of the building, I agree, is relatively.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But it's chalking, and if it gets to the point where it is peeling,
It's been
our
7 years.
costs are going to be a lot higher
That'd be
than power
astronomical.
washing, priming, and painting. You have a lot more repair.
Did we ask anybody what that cost would be?
We will
I
get
know, but
figures. We'll get
dollars.
estimates.
You mean if we let the
figures.
building go?
Let the building go and patch up what's
Well, actually,
falling apart.
Actually,
Because the building looks good.
not
No,
really.
no,
It's got a
it
lot of.
doesn't.
No, it doesn't?
Now, actually, you probably just sort of,
Tunnel vision?
yeah, and it, which is typical, now, if you watch us walk down the corridors. or the
I've seen it.
They do look bad. If you look up at the ceilings,
I've seen
every
that.
one of those is just awful.
Yeah.
Now it needs-
And if we don't maintain them pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, he's been trying to get this thing painted for the last 2 years, and I have said, no, doesn't need it.
Yeah, me
But
Last
too.
year
I
we
do
wanted-
think,
Me too.
I
It
do
has-
think we're getting very, it's not gonna get done this year. This is for next year.
No, it has to be done in
So-
the summer when there aren't too many people here.
Yes.
For one thing, they're going to have to put down paper or tarps to protect our walkways. And you're gonna, we don't want everybody here having to walk over that.
Yeah, it will be trippy,
It won't
Okay,
be
I
in
just
the
wondered if
summer.
you had considered it, thank you.
Well, see, we're also obligated as a board to maintain this building. We don't have a choice.
It's been 7
And we
years.
do have the
It'll
money
be
to
8
maintain
years
it.
by the time
There's
we
no
do
reason
it,
not to.
which is considered, you're supposed to
It's
paint
been
like
for
every.
Yeah,
about
we're
7
already to the
years.
limit. By next year, it'll be going on almost 8 years. Yeah, 7 to 8 years, yeah.
Well, since we're so close to the water,
Definitely.
that alone degrades.
Sure.
And the
Everything.
rule of thumb, within a certain distance from any body of water, the paint will degrade in 5 years and will then need to be power washed and repainted. So we're well past the
Yeah,
expected life.
the paint is held up very well. We're very lucky. Yes, Joe?
I think the other advantage in having it painted, it's one and done. We don't know what the maintenance is going to be on a per year basis. We could go 2 years and then say, oh, screw it, we have to paint it anyway. This way, it's the cost is there, we pay for it, we're covering more with our warranty than just quick patch jobs, we'll move on. And it seems the easiest thing to do and most reasonable in the long run.
Yeah.
Yeah, and part of the specs on this, on the paint job are repairing drywall tapes that are pulling off on ceilings.
I've seen that.
Yeah, I mean, all those things are going to be part of the painting contract.
Okay. Thank you.
And also, I've asked them to give us a price. We had some discussion about this before with a few people, with the parking lots, of doing something to color them, where the cars are parked, underground, under the car parking, and they suggested staining the concrete rather than paint, using a stain.
Can you stain concrete?
Yeah.
Well,
I've seen that.
they
It
call
looks
it a
good.
stain. It looks like paint.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
what people that, if you have a
lanais.
painted driveway or your lanai,
Oh, okay.
that's all concrete stain.
Okay.
You-
Yeah, it
it's
holds
not-
up better than
Everybody
paint.
thinks of, wood stains.
Yeah.
It's not, it's pigmented, but it's not, it really sort of goes into the concrete. It's not a totally toppable deal like paint.
Yeah, they said the paint
Wears
holds
much
up with
better.
the sunlight on it, and they didn't even recommend the top with silicone
Oh,
or epoxy, I mean. Pat, do you have your hand up?
No, Brady did.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to ask that when people are speaking from the association, to please introduce yourself by name.
Yes, it's the name
It's on
and
video.
unit number, if you would, so we know. Any other input on the painting? Keep it in mind, anybody that's interested, anybody's got comments on colors, anybody that wants to be on the committee, we really appreciate it. If we're not gonna do it, we want the input from the unit owners.
I don't think
And
that's
one of
right.
the suggestions would be to take a ride, look at other condos, see what's out there, come back with ideas, you know.
We're trying to-
Now, the other thing that was brought up in this meeting we had with Scott was if we change colors, there could be as much as a 15% upcharge for changing colors. One of the examples was getting a paintbrush in all the grooves of that T111 panel.
Which happens to cover every floor,
So-
6 floors.
You have to do that anyway.
Well,
So
except
they
then one of
spray
the
it with the same
contractors
color,
said,
it's not
it's not
bad."
gonna make any difference, we're gonna spray that. So that's gonna go in anyway. So since there's gonna be at least 4, if not 5 people bidding on this, I would venture that there isn't gonna be much of, if any, upcharge for color change that
Well,
isn't radical.
we will work it out with them too. We want the bid, to do work with us, yeah.
Sometimes when you change color, you may have to have 2 colors.
Well, the line
No,
changes.
not if we're going with a beige or a
Yeah.
tan, because
This
those
is so
cover
It
light.
better.
depends what you're doing.
Yeah.
Well, I know.
If you change it radically, yeah. Oh,
Yeah, but this is so light. I don't think we'll have no problem with changing it.
Any other questions on the painting? All right, be waiting for people to come up with, in the committee.
I would like to say though, if people
Yeah.
haven't been down Bell Harbor Road, just look at those 3 units there, the nice colors. And the last one is that beige with the coffee trim, I think it is, which would blend in really well.
Where on Bell Harbor Road?
Right, isn't that Bell Harbor when you go over the bridge and go down towards Jamaica Way? They're right there
No,
on the
that's-
water.
No, that's Marion.
Oh, that, once you get off of Marion, that
Ball Harbor,
stays? Oh, you're right, it's Marion, okay,
Okay.
okay,
All
it's
right.
Marion then. I thought that was Bar Harbor.
Well, you'll have to take us down and show us.
Yeah. Well,
That's-
whatever, but they're there, it's
So
nice
it's
colors
near,
there on
near
those
Jamaica Way.
units. Just before the light, just before the light, and that's Bell Harbor,
That's
right?
Bell Harbor.
Okay, just before the light, okay.
All right,
On the
any
right.
other questions on that? Yes.
Jim Orth, 235. Regarding the cracking of the masonry finish, the stucco, prior to any painting, caulking, or finishing, should we bring in a stucco guy that's paid to check it out, see if there's anything coming off or loose, break it out, patch it up prior to any priming or painting or caulking?
But we will be, and that will be taken care of long before we paint.
Oh, you have to?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
they'll
already
come.
looking, we've already got looked into some of them.
Oh, good.
Yes.
That's all I'm
Yeah.
asking.
Well, to bring-
That's definitely a
And
question.
it's the kind of
Are you
thing
on
you've
the-
got to do
Well,
months in
Joe,
advance.
engineering is supposed to be checking
Well,
that out.
Actually,
That
I
was a
have
big-
the pack,
We'll go into that, that's on the
Okay.
agenda.
Is that, you can talk
all the
about that?
engineering.
Well,
Well, then, we don't,
That's going into that right
that's
Well, yeah, but what did they say?
nothing.
now. Basically, they said it's gotta be fixed.
Nothing? Yeah, I was gonna say.
All right, the next thing was, we talked about these water valves last week, last month. We had another issue in a unit on the first floor where a water valve broke and I had to have a plumber come in. We did hire a plumber to fix a unit on 307, and then we had to fix the one on the first floor. We decided with the one plumber gave us a price of $155, and he was using a newer plastic valve that's supposed to be better. I talked to another plumber, a third plumber. We've also had the plumber that does work in here originally, and he came in and he looked at it and he said he wouldn't use a plastic valve at all. He wants to use a brass valve, which is it's a high-end valve. It's more expensive. And I said, well, how much do you want to do it with the brass valve? He said, I'll do it for $150. So he came in with a much better valve at $5 cheaper. And he has done 2 of them in here. The valves are excellent.
Is he
And as far as
licensed?
everything I've found out on the valves, I mean, they'll outlast anything with the plastic, and they work.
Is he licensed and insured?
Oh, yeah, yes, fully licensed, fully insured. Yeah, we won't have nobody in here that's not. We got, yes,
However, John,
yes.
That was
on
Carl.
that last one you
Oh, I'm
did,
sorry.
the bill was $215 because of the problem.
There was a much bigger fix on that, so,
So
Yeah.
not
So you figure
necessarily
that-
$150.
Yeah.
yes,
Just make sure they're ball valves and not gate valves.
they are. Yeah, they're not screw-in, these are one-hand valves. Yeah. I want a quick shut-off.
They have to be a ball valve, not a
Yes.
gate.
They're stainless steel ball valves.
I saw it,
Brass
it's
ball
wonderful, you can actually.
You can't
turn it
have two
on.
different, you can't have 2 different metals in a valve because
I
it will
wonder-
create electrolysis situation in the valve. will
Yeah, I
fail.
can't turn mine on.
It's gotta be a brass ball.
Okay.
Me?
Any questions on the valve? The biggest problem, before I finish on that, the biggest problem is the expense of doing it. Obviously, we don't have money on that. We have reserves for certain items. We don't have reserves for maintenance, things like that. So we have to come up with the money to do it. And then also when we do them, you have to shut the water off. The guy has to go in the units. So it involves being in the units, people aren't there. Then we have to have 2 board members stand with him the whole time because we're responsible for anything that might be missing in the unit. So that gets to be a little bit of a problem where I don't think the board wants to get too involved in that. So, and he has to, the riser, when he turns it off, on that side he turns 3 waters off at the same time. The object would be to do 3. And you can't always have all 3 units occupied where the owners can be there present while this is being done. So we're looking into these issues also. Yes. Joe?
You're talking 80 units, that's a lot of time for board members to be wasting. I
Exactly.
wonder if there's the possibility of having each individual unit owner responsible for his unit.
Unit.
Oh,
And if
they
he's,
are.
and, well, no, I know they are, but if that particular unit owner isn't there, they get a neighbor or a friend who could be in there during those hours.
Definitely.
And this way, it takes the onus from the board and all those man hours you'd
The
be
responsibility
wasting.
for the.
Yeah.
Let the owner be
Sounds
responsible.
like a good idea to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, Jim?
This subcontractor should be bonded
Yeah.
in order to face any sort of allegations of theft or damage. So it would be a wise idea for the board to settle on a number, 10,000, 20,000, whatever the bond might be, so that when the subcontractor comes in and begins making entry into the private properties throughout this complex, he's bonded. So there's money there to pay for loss.
Well, also, one way of eliminating all of that is to have the owner present.
Have the owner
The owner.
there.
The
And
owner
the present
has
there,
to
you
be there.
oversee what the man's doing.
Because they may even say the board guy took it, who knows?
Because
I
he should be
know.
bonded
Yeah.
and insured. to
Yeah,
do
of
any
course,
work
I'm just
anyway.
saying that some guys aren't bonded. Don't
Well,
be
we'll make
insured,
sure he is.
but
Yes.
not bonded.
Well, yeah, but
Good
I
idea,
think it's
yeah.
the owner's responsibility to be there.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
not be here, have a representative, a
That's
neighbor, or
right.
someone that he
Someone
knows.
they trust.
Yeah.
If this work is done during winter, that's when the majority of your folks are here.
Well, it's what
Right.
we're gonna have to do.
So, plan it for that.
Right?
That's what we'll try.
Yeah, but also the issue still is paying for it. We're looking at a minimum of $12,000. Now, some of the units ran into more money. The one that he had to do on the first floor, he had to go into the wall, he had to change the main pipe. because these valves were replaced once before. There's no stubs left to tie into them. So he had to go into the main pipe, repipe it, bring a stub out, and in order to put the pipe together, he had to cut the wall open, put an elbow in, put a T in, come off with a 3/4 pipe, and then do the valve. So it got a lot more involved. It worked over $200 for that job. He was there for 4 or 5 hours. Yeah, Joe.
Now,
And one
when
other
you
thing,
talk-
John, would it be worth having this assessment going out when the letters go out in December?
Well, whatever we
To
need to
vote
do,
on
we can do
certain
that in a
things?
separate mailing too.
Have that out early.
Is that what you plan on doing?
Well, we're gonna see. Well, the board will make a decision on that when we decide. Not at this point, we're not gonna make that decision.
John.
Yes.
Marjorie Delaney at 314.
Yes, Mark.
I guess I misunderstand what the homeowner is responsible for. Shouldn't the homeowner be responsible for that valve?
Well, it is a homeowner. You pay the money to have the valve replaced. We're replacing all of them at a discount price.
Oh, so the homeowner.
The building is responsible to do it, but we own the building. It's your building. It's my building.
Right.
The condo doesn't own the building. We own the building.
But if we have a pipe go bad in our condo.
If it goes
we
bad
pay
in the
for
wall,
that.
the condo pays for it. Yes.
But see, the problem is because you're on the first floor, if that valve breaks and you don't happen to be there right then, you're gonna flood the floor, the unit below you.
And
And
we
that's
wanna do
why
that.
we are concerned.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the homeowner will be paying that $150. That's correct.
Really, that's,
Yes.
we assess
We're trying to get it done.
$150, that's the homeowner.
I think we can get it done for less than that. Yes, the homeowner is gonna be responsible.
He did say if we give him all the job, it would be less, but we could run into problems with some, so there could be some extra charges, so it may balance out. But, you know, you gotta realize something, the condo is your money, we are not separate entities.
I cannot
You know.
turn my valves off. I went away for a week and I left them on, and I'm worrying all the time I'm gone. that Something
This
could
is an
happen,
issue,
you know, I'd be flooding.
And the way the
my
system is being
downstairs
done
basement.
now, we're doing away with the 2 valves. You'll have a 1 valve system, one turn, a big handle, and everything's off.
Yeah,
And
the way
it's a
it
positive
used to be.
valve,
And
the way
that
it should be.
works. That
Yeah.
handles on so long.
Now explain to me, we don't have a emergency reserve or
No.
anything in our funds?
No, there are certain things that
The money
it's
that's
for.
put in the money.
It is in the book for the CPA, she lists these different things, and it's only certain things, and I
That's the
can
only-
give you a list.
I would think
That's why we
plumbing would
can't
be.
rob
We
it
also,
for insurance or anything.
We had a roof inspection
Well, I
done.
don't see insurance.
Well, other
But
people
maintenance,
have.
I could see where.
Did
they
Peg have a
could take
question?
it out.
John?
Yes.
Peg had her hand up about
I'm
the
sorry.
We
plumbing.
have what?
Do you have a question, Peg?
200,000?
Yeah, well, it's.
Okay, never mind, you answered it.
Eight,
All right, also, we had some issues on the roof with the water penetrating. We got issues with a couple of columns that looked like we know we need repairs done, and it's water intrusion getting into the columns and degrading the rods. We've had the roof inspectors come in because it's columns that affect with the roof. It's the two that have the fire barriers that come out over and then down. And the roof inspection, first of all, the roof, he said, is in great shape, periodic, period. The roof itself, he was very pleased with it. This is a new guy, new company, from GAF, representative from the GAF, who did our roof, out of warranty. And he was very pleased with the roof, extremely pleased with the condition of the roof. But he did say that the flashings look like they got an issue. He has people that specialize in checking on his flashing. And that's what they're going to check, to see if this water intrusion is caused by that. He didn't like the way some of it was done. He thought there was some issues with it. So hopefully that'll correct it. Then we're going to have the concrete people come in and redo the concrete on the columns. We do have issues on 2 columns. And anything else we see with stucco and anything else, it's got to be repaired.
Is that flashing let into the mud joints? Or is it just nailed up?
Some is on the side, some is at the top of the brick.
There are no mud joints because it's a stucco.
Well, there's blocking.
Yeah, but no, they did not cut. They put a flashing for the Bennett and they put a bead of caulk on the top.
Actually, he looked at where they capped the top of the block, and the way they did it at the end, you could see rivets. That's wrong. So we wanted to go out on the end of the building, get out there and redo that. He said, that's where he thinks it's coming.
Anyway, what I determined, we've got 2 bad columns. in the whole building, and both of them, both columns are where the wall goes up through the roof. So I said, there's gotta be a problem, there's water getting in there, that's from the top. So GAF came by and they said, yeah, that does look suspicious, so.
As soon as I told him, I went up on the roof.
Because I said, we're not gonna get this cement fixed until we get the problem solved.
He concurred.
I'm just saying flashing requirements usually pretty specific within the code, and regarding materials, lining materials, et cetera, so,
Well, it's not a step flashing, and it's not.
oh, no, I understand.
It's just
But
nailed
when-
in and
Yeah, but when you go from, okay,
it wasn't done right.
no doubt.
Well, I've been saying that before.
So we're, right now looking at that, getting that worked out. Another issue I want to bring up that wasn't on the agenda, and it just came to my attention in my own unit. Our water usage is still high. And we did have some concern with the pool, and we got some of that repaired. I think we still have some slight leaking of water in the pool, but it's not the whole issue. And the question is, I believe, and my toilets were brand new when I put them in, and they're Colliers, they're good toilets. I had to replace the flapper valves, and it wouldn't work. I had to get a piece that actually replaces the seat. I had to dry it out, do a whole replacement on the seat. The seat would not seal. So it doesn't sound like a lot of water with a little bit of a toilet running. But if you take a toilet running 24 hours a day times 30 days in a month, then you times it by 160 toilets in this building. A few toilets over a period of time could be a lot of water. Anybody thinks they have a problem with their toilet, let one of us know on the board. We have a very simple test. It's a drop or two of food dye. Put it in the tank, you wait about 10, 15 minutes. If the water turns pink, if it turns pink in the toilet, the water's passing, and you got a problem. You got to either replace that valve and this thing. And it's not an expensive job. The part cost me $5. And it took a little bit of time to put it in. So, but when you accumulate this, we're using a tremendous amount of water.
If I may.
Yes, please.
At what levels of usage are we today above what we may have been?
How many gallons are we using? What was the last one? I'm
Let me
talking
see if I can find it.
130,000
In a year?
1 month.
All right.
And I'm talking with nobody here.
In the water supply systems, many times, depending upon the way it's piped, and I would think here it's some sort of a PVC. So it would be the lowest end supply line available, the cheapest and lowest. It is not uncommon for the supply line on the upstream of the meter to fail at various joints, whether it's a straight joint or whether it's a T, whatever it might be. And when you're experiencing major loss, many times it is the actual supply between the meter and the riser. So if you start talking 100,000 gallons of water, I'm saying that it probably would be a good idea to pressure test these pipes. And
To do that, you have to shut every unit off.
well, you do it for a while. They're only 15-minute tests.
I know, but you're talking a big deal.
Well, it shows 140,000 gallons of water.
Yeah, but putting the dye in a toilet tank's a lot easier, a lot
Yes.
cheaper, and a lot quicker.
But not if you have a supply line break underground.
But also, if you have a supply line break, you're going to see water
I
something.
think you're going to see.
Not necessary. This is
We had
sandy
one break
soil.
out here, water, we had puddles all over.
But if you get this going on,
Sinkhole.
it migrates into the soil.
Yes, Joe.
Well, to alleviate one of the problems quickly, if we're going to have the valve replaced, why not have, being everybody's paying for it, why not have that minor plumbing work also done, and that put one to the assessment price? I know mine was leaking, and it had to be fixed. I don't know the amount it was, but that's one thing that you would know for certain, that 80 units
Pressure test every riser.
had everything taken care of. And it wouldn't be that expensive to do it either.
That's easy.
Well, this partly came to our attention because the 3 months that our bill should have been lower, wasn't infected.
Yeah, there's a leak in the
Well, and
supply
if
line.
July, August, and September were higher, quite a bit higher than,
Has
last
the water
year.
rate increased, or
Huh?
has the water rate increased, price-wise?
Oh, that increased
Well, I'm talking about
before.
gallons, but gallon usage was higher.
Yeah.
What did we use last month, for example?
Well, I can only talk about September, I don't have
Oh,
that there.
September would be good,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, a year ago, we used 115,000 gallons, and this year, 136,000
That's
gallons.
a leak.
And we got less people.
That's
And
a
that's
leak.
been
we're not
true of the
sprinkling.
last, of
Yeah, that's
a
July,
supply
August,
line
and
leak.
We took a
September.
sprinkler.
Well, you know what, if you can't turn your water off, then that's still running, so you probably weren't as
It's
high
not
because
running
you couldn't.
unless.
Well, there's a toilet problem.
Didn't you
It's
bury it?
easy enough.
Yes,
And
yes.
This is what I'm saying, if somebody thinks
Didn't
they
you
have a
fix a
problem.
well?
Make an answer.
A well for sprinkling?
We have a well for sprinkling.
We put a well in.
Should've
It's
been
not
less.
sprinkling water.
We had so
I
much
know it's
rain
not
this
sprinkling
summer,
water.
we didn't sprinkle.
And with the rain we've had, we didn't even run the sprinkler.
We've got a leak in the supply line. I'd be willing to bet on it.
Well,
It's
I think
possible.
we should get some plumbing dye and go to every toilet. Because you say if you think you have a leak, I'm sure.
Well, I looked into that.
Half
Of
the
course, of
people-
going to every toilet and checking it, and then going back and putting a valve in, it was cheaper to have them just put a flapper valve in every toilet and be done with it. Because they would have to do it anyway. Because to test a toilet, first of all, you gotta get in somebody's unit, you gotta put a test in the water, then you gotta wait 20 minutes to come back and make sure there's not a leak. You know, it's gonna be involved with 80 units. I mean, that's an expensive job, and you gotta get in people's units again. We can't let somebody in a unit that people aren't available.
I agree.
You know, I don't wanna be responsible for somebody unless it's an emergency, I mean, there's a leak, a fire or something, and we have to. You know, and to go into unit after unit after unit, and you're gonna be dealing with more than one plumber, so, you know, they bring a crew in, I mean, that would be a nightmare. Yeah, because I got a price from Gray's one, and he wanted so much money just to come in and test all of it. So I said, well, how about you just replace the flapper valve? It was much less than just replace the flapper valve than what to do the test. And if he tests it, then finds a leak, then he can come back and charge us through the flapper valve anyway.
I replaced my own last year.
Oh, yeah. So do I.
I just have to run home for a
It's
minute.
not
I have a
a
guy
job.
coming from my, I'll be back. I
Another
just gotta
man.
make sure Ray's there to open the door.
Another man.
Well, that's pretty much all the issues as far as the toilet thing. I just brought that up because of the situation I had, and I just like to keep it out there. Anybody has an issue, if you don't even know if you do, just ask, we'll come down, do the test, it takes 2 minutes, really. Yes?
John, I think everyone knows me, I'm Sandra White, U222. Anyway, I have an issue, and it's not with plumbing, I just want to mention to see if anybody else has this problem or not. I had AC man come yesterday.
I talked to him.
Yeah, I have this banging noise. It goes bang, 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 bang. I'm sure people upstairs, people downstairs, it sounds like I'm banging on my walls. And he said that was the way it was draining. But he did something so that if it backs up too much, it'll just cut off the AC. Well, I'm thinking something is clogged because it's when the water is draining. It actually sounds like I'm banging on the walls. And am I the only one?
It's a
that's
dripping
felt-
noise in a pipe.
It's loud. It woke me up
I
at
know
4
what
o'clock
it
this
is.
morning.
I hear water going down.
No, this is like a bam, bam,
I think
bam,
what it is,
bam.
we gotta put the Clorox in the pipe because it's probably got a little bit of extra gunk in it, and the condensate line.
I
Every
think you're right.
couple of
You get
months.
bacterial
pour a
growth.
couple
As a matter of fact,
Clorox
Causes a
down.
vacuum
We should be doing
occur.
that right now.
And then the weight of the water breaks the vacuum.
No.
It causes an air expansion,
I
which
know,
is
I
like
do
a
it every
little
so
balloon
often.
burst.
Well, you got 80 of them.
I know, well, they
It's,
should
I
do
mean,
their own.
it is loud.
People don't
But
do this.
for those of you that have a heat pump, you also have on your heat pump what's called a reversing valve. When your equipment goes from air conditioning to heat, there's a reversing valve that reverses the flow of the freon, and that goes bang. So if you're hearing above you a bang, that reversing valve.
Well, that's the only heat pump in here, Jim, I think is yours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, really.
But I don't have one bang. It's like 5
Boom,
or
boom,
10
boom.
You know what it is?
minutes.
It's like a boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I heard it in your unit, I think.
Yeah, it's,
25 cents worth of Clorox.
I mean,
That's all.
I paid $100 just to have a check, and basically, you know.
Cup of Clorox, they got
Where do
these
you
out,
put the
cup
Clorox?
of Clorox in there.
Where?
Probably clean wine.
There's a little tray, you just put it right in.
Not in the
You
tray.
can do it in
What do
each
we
unit,
got?
and if you get
You
upstairs,
lift that thing out and
I'll show you
pour
where
it
to
down
do
the
it.
hall.
on the roof, there is
Anybody needs
a
help,
vent
I'll come
that
and
allows
help.
the drain to actually flow, and you drop it right in there.
There's no vent.
And it runs, there is no vent?
I didn't buy it.
That goes directly from the units down.
No, I understand, but it's
There's
not.
no, that does not.
Oh, that's why it's banging, but there's no vent.
There's no vent on the roof. They vent out of the individual units.
And your unit, you know, hasn't been occupied for a long time, so maybe it is clogged.
Well, all them lines clogged, it's just the way, because
Yeah.
they come down and then they have to run flat, of course,
Oh.
and then down.
Can I ask a question? When the air conditioner guy came last year, when we had our unit checked, I said something about Clorox, and he said that they're tablets that are better. Because he
Okay.
said, I was wondering if.
It's a
tablets-
Clorox tablet.
Okay, all right. I
It's a-
just,
You lay that tray.
So when the compressor's running up on the roof, it just,
The compressor doesn't have any condensation.
well, okay.
Condensation's inside the unit
Yeah,
itself, and that's where it drains down.
Well, okay.
And then they don't vent through the roof. All right, I think that's all the issues. We have anything else? Any new business? Yes.
Just, John, Sally Ryder, 121.
Yes, Sally.
You had we had a drainage problem before, you know, for the flooding on our
Right.
parking lot, and it's all flooded again. And you had it done just not too long ago, it seems like. It's all flooded, and it gets very, very flooded again. And people aren't parking there, they're parking in my
Well, it's
space.
when that drain gets clogged with dirt. That's the problem.
Or leaves.
I keep cleaning it out, you know.
Yeah, because they're not using the parking spots there. And they use mine.
What happened when they put the walkway in, our water used to naturally drain for the last 35 years to the Charlotte Harbor. They decided to put the walkway in, they raised that up a foot and did away with that natural drain. We paid to have our own drain put in
I know
because they
you did. I
refused to
remember
do
when
it.
it was done.
But the only trouble is when it clogs up with trash on top, which it collects from the whole, I mean, half that parking lot drains down.
Yeah, because mine doesn't flood, I mean, mine isn't.
Well, it
flooded.
never will get up into the unit, but
No.
it floods the parking spaces.
Because the people upstairs are complaining, so I thought I'd mention it.
You know, as long as they keep that drain open, there's nothing else we can do. I talked to, I had the city down, they were gonna put a drain in, they were gonna do this, they never did nothing. They took that away from us, and there's no way for a place for the water to go, they created that problem.
I have a question.
Yes.
You know, on the rentals, is there any way, until we find out, because we just got a notice about insurance going up again, maybe, and if the individual insurance goes up, that means our condo insurance goes up. Is there any way to not approve, I know you've got 3, but not approve any more until we figure out if 30% is too much or whatever?
Not without changing the document.
No, okay, because, I mean,
There's
if it's
nothing
gonna,
in there
if
that
it's
limits
gonna,
that, no.
if it's gonna make us go into a rental unit rather than a condo unit?
I'm not sure, 100% positive of that, but that is possible. And I know right now we have 3 people pending that have contacted us about renting on top of what we already have, which will put us at 1/3, 33%.
Yeah. I was just,
I had somebody call me, another place, wanted to know if our flood insurance, about our flood insurance. I said, well, ours doesn't renew till like May, although I do try to get the figures
Yeah, I'm
before
working on, I
they-
think I'm gonna contact,
before the
try to
end
get
of
some
the year,
answers.
but they were saying, oh my gosh, they went up so much, so I'm kind of scared when we get our figures for insurance. We try to contact our agent and get figures before we make the budget, and
It's always good to know what
I'm
you're
kind of
and
afraid.
would the agent know?
I don't,
what
well,
the
we get our
percentage-
flood through the same agent now, it's just, it's federal.
Yeah.
That we have our building insurance. So last year, he was able to give me figures. I
Yeah.
hope he can this
Yeah.
year.
And I think it's another thing, there's a
Because
lot
I'm
of
kinda
confusion
worried
for
about
them.
that.
Yeah, I understand. Any other new business? Yes.
I have a problem that I think we can solve easily. And
I hope so.
I do too. I did some research. John and I have talked about it, but I purchased the unit 207 from Earl Stevenson just as he left for the summer. He suggested that I park in an undercover parking spot, L11, no, L1, where he had been parking. There was, because, I gotta have my glasses. Having trouble walking, because I had fallen and I was having trouble walking, so he thought it would be a good idea. I was diagnosed with a fractured skull and a brain bleed, and I am still in physical therapy and try to improve and correct the problem. Earl informed me that the spot belonged to Unit 224, and they returned to, and if they returned to the Charlevoi, I would have to move my car. Parking there was a big help to me, and I really appreciate the use of the undercover. Parking is much closer to the elevator for me. Approximately 5 days after Earl left, this summer I pulled into the parking spot and was met by John, and he showed me a piece of paper that had no date on it and didn't say anything to me other than read it, and said he could park there if it was signed by Mr. Trumbley. I checked the documents and found everything had been assigned in a parking spot. I found that John had a parking spot located under a carport. I investigated the deeds to the unit and found that Maureen Trumbley owned Unit 224. I cannot understand why John won't let me have that spot, and why he didn't call back the number that I gave him to insure the thing. Maureen, I called her, talked to her, said that I could park there, and I said, well, John was there. She said, you go ahead and park. If they don't like it, call me. Can I have some help with that?
Yeah, do you have permission of the owner of that spot to park there?
I talked to the owner of the spot to park there.
She's not the owner.
Actually, I have permission from
John Twombly.
who's-
It's Helen
Twombly's
Twombly's son.
The only living heir. I've been parking in that spot for how long? 2 years, 2.5 years?
2.5 years.
And when this situation came up, I contacted them again and got written permission from John Twombly.
I have a paper here that says that the Maureen Trumbley in January 17th of 2013 is the owner of.
She's not, she's divorced. They're divorced.
No, they're not.
Well, they're supposed to be.
I know, but they're not divorced. I just talked to her yesterday. And there are 3 owners to that condo. I know about that. I just talked to her yesterday.
Who, Maureen?
No, I talked to Lynn.
Who's
Oh,
Lynn?
same.
One of
She
the
uses
owners,
2
John's
names.
wife.
She uses 2 different names.
And it's
Yeah.
Twombly.
Maureen is Lynn. She has 2 names.
Yeah.
Maureen has 2 names?
She's
So
Lynn.
Maureen is
Her
one of
name
the
is
owners.
Marilyn,
Maureen,
and she
Maureen,
uses
Lynn,
Lynn.
and John.
And
are the
Mary.
owners.
Mary is an owner,
Maureen is one of the.
50% owner.
Actually, technically, the property is still in Helen Twombly's name. It's never been transferred. It's in receiver, it was trusted to the family. They never transferred it, so it's still in the mother's name. And as far as I know, John Twombly, according to the document,
Who owns the unit?
Maureen Trumbley
2 sons there.
and Mary
One
Trumbley.
died, she had 2 sons. One son died.
That's not a document, that's just a listing.
What?
If
That's
this
just a
thing is
listing
in a
of documents.
trust, then it's a matter for the
I
trustee.
don't know.
No, it's not
No?
trust anymore.
It isn't?
It's in probate is what it is.
Is it really?
Yes.
The former actions would stand.
That's just the cover page. You have to click on those links to get the documents.
At the
That's
county
just the-
registrar's office.
That's just the,
Who
yeah,
owns,
Helen.
Helen owns it, and her son John is in charge of it. He's the only living heir left.
He's the one that pays the maintenance fee.
Trustee.
He pays the maintenance fee.
your letter is from Helen?
No, there's no letter.
I
He's
don't
just
have any
got,
letter for Maureen.
Oh,
Helen's dead.
yes, this is the trust, it's in trust. The actual
That's
property
just
is
a
still,
list.
it's still in Helen Trumbley's name. The
That's
mother.
just
It's
the
never
front
been
page of
transferred.
the Charlotte County
All the records that I got
documents, and you have
doesn't
to
say
click
that.
on them to get a document.
Yeah, I got the actual records.
Yeah, it's still in Helen's name.
And this is a paper that I got from John Twombly. Confirming.
You've seen this. You have it already.
Okay. There's no date on it, so I don't know when he got it. And
matter when I got it, I've been in that parking place for over 2 years.
John, the fact that you've been there for 2 years doesn't mean
That-
anything.
Well, he gave me verbal.
That's about
I
6
called
months
him-
old.
I called him and got written permission, faxed back to me.
When did we
Letter
get
has
that?
no date on it.
No, I agree.
Well, maybe he needs to send you
I
one
don't
with
think
a
it's
date
something
on
the
it.
board can decide on. I
It's
think
not a
No,
board issue.
That's, it's not a board issue.
who has the legal authority to grant.
I mean, we can go back to these people, I will work with you on that. If they say it's yours, then
Well,
that's fine, and I'll leave it.
She only had 2 sons, and one died, and he was the remaining son.
And John's the one that pays the maintenance.
Question. We're spending a lot of time on
Yeah.
a personal issue.
They just said
Let's
it's-
just scratch that.
Thank
We'll
you.
work this out between us.
Yeah, we don't want to hear this
Gentlemen.
nonsense.
Well, there's 2 handicap parking spaces out there anyway.
And go West Catholic, whatever they should.
Let's, any other questions? New business? You guys are gonna decide now on who's gonna be on the committee. I know a couple of you women are dying to get in there and work on this thing.
I'll be on the committee.
I hope so. So you guys talk it over yourselves, you work it out, and then we'll get from there. Glad to have that. On the painting. Motion to adjourn the meeting? Sure.
I second it.
Thank you all. Take a walk outside. Shoes.
Yes, please.